Kids have such a weird relationship with sleep. Babies seem to have nothing better to do. Toddlers are dreading sleep 1 minute and then clonked out, hanging off the chair the next. And teenagers are pulling all-nighters and sleeping until noon. So it's easy for parents to feel hopeless and confused about sleep for their children. But after reading Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, our book club found 5 facts about sleep that might help parents understand it a little better. Number 1, sleep is crucial in brain development and maturation. One of the benefits of children sleeping like a koala that took a bottle of melatonin is that it helps build their neural networks. Walker calls this task neuroarchitecture, where a sleeping child's brain sends electrical signals that develop neural pathways and connections within their growing brain. He compares REM sleep to an internet company hooking fiber optic wires to buildings across the city. So think Google Fiber, but without ads. We also learned from sleep researcher Erwin Feinberg that as these children develop through adolescence, sleep helps prune old connections that aren't needed and overhaul or refine the brain's cognitive skills, reasoning, and critical thinking. A more common name for this that you might recognize as maturing. The funny thing is the last part of the brain to mature is actually the tip of the frontal lobe, which enables rational thinking and critical decision making. So if you did anything weird or cringy as a teenager, just blame it on a lack of sleep. Number 2, babies don't have a circadian rhythm. The circadian rhythm is like an internal clock that helps alert our bodies when it's time to sleep, even without something to signal it like the rising or setting of the sun. These rhythms are developed by our brains after using patterns and signals from our environment, like light and darkness. And our brains even continue to use these signals throughout our life to reset or update the clock. However, it takes roughly 3 to 4 months for babies' brains to begin developing these circadian rhythms, and they usually aren't even fully developed until after about a year. This is why their sleep can seem so erratic and even backwards at times, where they sleep all day and stay up all night, because their circadian rhythm is not yet synced up with the day-night cycle. So if you're a parent, you're not crazy. Your baby really is sleeping at all the wrong times. Number 3, young kids are natural early birds. Even after developing a circadian rhythm, the change doesn't end there. Not only are children beginning to evolve from polyphasic sleep, which is sleep in multiple phases, to monophasic sleep, which is sleeping in one big phase as adults do, but the circadian rhythms of children naturally shift to much earlier in the evening than that of their parents. Scientists have found that this change is usually noticeable around 9 years old, and the circadian rhythm is likely to begin around 9 p.m. This, of course, also leads to children waking up much earlier than their parents. So if you're wondering why the heck your kid is waking you up at 5 or 6 a.m., just know they're actually not trying to ruin your life. This is a perfectly normal time of wakefulness according to their circadian rhythms. Number 4, teenagers are natural night owls. Yes, another natural shift in the circadian rhythm happens as children become teenagers. At around 16 years old, children's circadian rhythms have undergone a massive shift into the night, moving from much earlier to much later, even later than that of their parents, and usually beginning past midnight. This means that asking a teenager to go to sleep at 10 p.m. is the equivalent of asking an adult to go to sleep at 7 or 8 p.m. And Walker adds that asking that same teenager to wake up at 7 in the morning and function with intellect, grace, and good mood is the equivalent of asking you, their parent, to do the same at 4 or 5 a.m. So it could be easy to think that a teenager is being lazy when they sleep in until noon, or to get frustrated at them for not going to sleep when you'd like, but it's actually their natural circadian rhythms guiding their sleep patterns. One interesting explanation for this change in timing that Walker proposes is the transition from parental dependence to independence that teenagers must go through before they're on their own. He suggests that Mother Nature supports the transition by allowing teenagers to operate for several hours independently of their parents. It's not a full loss of parental care, but enough to help them begin to think, act, and interact with peers on their own. Walker also suggests it would be wise for parents to embrace, encourage, and praise these sleeping patterns. Otherwise, you discourage or limit healthy emotional and mental development. Number 5. Consistency is key. Walker consistently recommends consistency. Going to sleep at the same time and waking up at the same time is easily the best thing we can do to improve our quality and quantity of sleep. So even if your kid has a different sleep schedule than you, and even if your circadian rhythm changes throughout the years, encourage them to build a habit of consistency. Though we usually set timers to wake up, Walker actually recommends setting a timer at night for when it's time to go to bed. Consider trying this with your children, or at least setting the example for them of consistency. So there it is, 5 facts that every parent should know about sleep. And although every parent's experience is going to be completely different, you'll succeed when you do your best. The fact that you're watching a video about sleep facts for your kids is already a sign you're doing a great job and that you care enough. So just keep appreciating every moment you have with your kids and share your wins with others so that maybe they can learn from you. If you're interested in joining our book club to continue learning about ways to improve our lives, go to cardinalcorner.org to sign up. You can also participate by liking, subscribing, and starting a conversation in the comments down below. Also, if you're watching this late at night, go to sleep. Love ya.